A Christchurch jury has heard grisly evidence about the death and dismemberment of Richard Leman after his partial remains were found in the boot of his abandoned car on the opening day of his alleged killer's trial. This is in Christchurch. Anna Leask, senior crime reporter and justice reporter, is with us this morning. Anna, what happened in court yesterday?
Well, court this week has all been the Crown case, so it's the jury hearing all about what the police allege happened to Richard Leman, and we've heard, the summary of what happened: that he was shot twice in this house in North Canterbury, that his body was dismembered, and part of it was hidden in the boot of his car. We've also heard from a woman who was there at the time. She was a friend of the victim who has described to the court in quite graphic detail what she saw and heard that day of her friend being shot, and his last moments before he died.
And what were those moments like?
Well, she said that she was in a bedroom and she heard a noise, which she wasn't sure what it was, came out and saw her friend had been shot in the leg. She was terrified. She had no idea that the accused was even at the house when this happened. She left the room, heard another noise, and came back to find her friend Richard Leman sort of grasping at his throat, unable to breathe, gasping for breath. And then she said he just slumped down and died. And she was so terrified that she would also be killed that she just took no action. No one in the house called for help. No one in the house tried to help the victim. And in fact, the accused went on to take drugs, money, and cell phones off the victim's body, smoked the drugs, the Crown say, smashed the phones, and later proceeded to, dismember and decapitate the body to dispose of it.
And has the Crown said yet why that happened, the decapitation and dismemberment? Was it to conceal identity? Have they gone into sort of that side of it yet?
Look, we're not sure of the motivation for the accused. We may hear that later in the trial. At this point, we know that the poor victim's head and limbs have not been located to date. Police don't know where it is. This is the first witness we've heard from. She says she doesn't know where they were hidden. Of course, Richard Leman's torso was found in the boot of his car, parked at an abandoned property. So an awful find for police and for his family. But there's another woman that was at the scene when this happened, and we'll be hearing from her hopefully this week. She might be able to shed some more light on what happened. All we know is there was animosity between the victim and the accused. There was a confrontation, and then that led to the victim being shot. Now, of course, the accused is denying all charges and saying it's these two women at the house that actually killed Richard Leman, that he was dead when he arrived, and it just simply was not him.
All right, Anna, really appreciate that update from Christchurch this morning. Thank you for being with us. Anna Leask, senior crime and justice reporter for the Herald.